Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your very first time joining us, I want to give you the warmest possible welcome, because today's video is exactly the kind of content this channel was built for, a completely unplanned, completely unfiltered, wonderfully chaotic Weverse live from Jungkook that happened earlier today, June 28, 2026, and that managed to pack an almost unbelievable number of random, hilarious, and genuinely heartwarming moments into a single broadcast. And if you have been with this community for a while, you already know exactly what I mean when I say these spontaneous lives are some of the purest, most enjoyable content we ever get from him. No choreography, no script, just Jungkook being completely himself in front of a camera, reacting in real time to whatever pops into his head or whatever he happens to read in the comments. Today's live had so many separate, distinct, individually shareable moments that I genuinely do not know where to begin, so let's just walk through this entire chaotic, wonderful broadcast together, moment by moment. Please hit that like button, make sure you are subscribed, and let's dive directly into everything that happened. Let us start at the very beginning, because the opening minutes of this live set the tone for absolutely everything that followed. Jungkook appeared on camera in a simple gray denim jacket, sitting in what looked like a hotel room with elegant cream-colored walls and ornate ceiling molding, and almost immediately, before he had even fully settled into the broadcast, something happened that perfectly captured the specific brand of chaos this particular live would become known for. According to fan accounts circulating from the broadcast, Jungkook genuinely, actually attempted to use his phone to open a bottle. Not a bottle opener. Not any actual tool designed for that purpose. His phone. And the moment he realized what he had just done, the exact second it registered in his brain that he had just used an expensive piece of technology as if it were a household tool, he looked directly at the camera, apologized out loud specifically to the phone itself, and then could not stop laughing at his own absurdity. Fans watching live immediately flooded the comments with reactions calling him, in their own words, so random, with one post capturing the moment perfectly by writing that Jungkook really used his phone to open a bottle, then looked at the camera, apologized to the phone, and simply could not stop laughing, adding that this man is just so random. That single moment alone generated tens of thousands of likes within hours and perfectly set the tone for what was about to be one of the most unpredictable, most purely entertaining lives of the entire year. From there, the broadcast moved into territory that started out lighthearted but very quickly turned into one of the most genuinely emotional threads of the entire live. At some point, while scrolling through the comments flooding in from fans, Jungkook came across someone mentioning that they had to work on a Sunday. And his reaction, captured and translated by fans watching closely, was immediate and full of genuine concern. He read the comment out loud and asked, with what fans describe as real surprise in his voice, "Wait, you have to go to work on a Sunday?" When the fan, presumably responding in the comments in real time, explained their situation, Jungkook's confusion only deepened. Why? Why, he asked, clearly trying to process why anyone would need to work on what is, for most people, supposed to be a day of rest. And then, putting together what he understood from the explanation, he said something that genuinely tugged at fans' hearts. "It seems like you're busy. But they're making you work on a Sunday? That's so cruel. Why would they make you work on a Sunday? They should be giving you a chance to rest." Now here is where this particular thread took an unexpected and genuinely touching turn. Because apparently, somewhere in the flood of comments, there was a slight miscommunication happening, and fans started gently teasing him for sounding a little too intense about it, with someone joking, essentially, "Cook, can you not say it like that? You're acting like you're yelling at me. I know if we have to work on a Sunday too, you know." And then came the detail that really explains why this entire exchange resonated so deeply with people watching. Someone explained to him that the actual reason some fans were working extra shifts, including on a Sunday, was specifically so they could save up enough money to buy concert tickets to come see him. To actually be in the same room as him. That is the real context behind the entire exchange, fans picking up additional work, sacrificing their weekend rest, specifically in order to afford the experience of seeing Jungkook perform live. And once that context became clear, the entire emotional register of the conversation shifted from playful confusion into something genuinely moving, a small, spontaneous window into exactly how much effort and sacrifice fans around the world are willing to make just for the chance to be present at one of his shows, and exactly how much that specific kind of devotion clearly moves him when he becomes aware of it in real time. Let us move to the next major thread of the broadcast, which took the live in a completely different, much more playfully chaotic direction. At some point, a fan in the comments specifically requested, in English, that he speak English during the live. Jungkook's response was immediate and characteristically honest. He admitted, plainly, that he is not particularly skilled in English. Another comment then suggested, somewhat jokingly, that he should just speak Korean instead, prompting Jungkook to fire back with genuine comedic energy, essentially asking whether the original commenter would even be able to communicate properly if they were the one speaking instead of him. A playful, "Well, could you even understand me if I tried?" kind of comeback that had fans laughing at his quick wit. But then, almost immediately pivoting from playful deflection into genuine sincerity, he revealed something that I think deserves real attention. He said that he is, in fact, currently learning English, that he actually has an English teacher working with him, and that his plan is to study the language starting completely from the basics, from zero. That detail matters because it shows you something real about how Jungkook approaches even casual moments during these unscripted broadcasts. Even when something starts as a lighthearted joke about language barriers, he ends up sharing something genuinely personal and forward-looking about his own self-improvement goals, treating the fans' playful request as an opening to share real information about his life rather than simply brushing it off. Now let us talk about what might be the single most chaotic and most confusing moment of the entire broadcast, because at some point, completely out of nowhere, Jungkook simply yelled, with full enthusiasm, 6-7. For those of you unfamiliar with the specific internet phenomenon he was referencing, 6-7 has been one of the more inexplicable, virally absurd trends circulating across social media throughout this period, the kind of meme that spreads precisely because nobody can quite explain why it is funny. It just is, through sheer repetition and absurdist commitment from everyone participating in it. And what makes Jungkook's specific moment with this trend so perfect is that immediately after yelling it with full conviction, he seemed to catch himself, paused, and said, almost bemusedly, 6-7, before openly admitting that he was actually curious where this entire trend had even originated from in the first place. So here you have one of the biggest pop stars on the entire planet, fully participating in one of the internet's most nonsensical viral trends with complete sincerity, while simultaneously admitting he has absolutely no idea why it exists or where it came from. And that specific combination of full participation paired with genuine confusion about the joke's origins is exactly the kind of moment that makes these unscripted lives so consistently delightful to watch. Let us move into the section of the broadcast that brought genuine musical magic into an otherwise chaotic and comedic stream. At one point during the live, Jungkook picked up what appears to have been some kind of device or instrument and delivered a stripped-down, intimate cover of Justin Bieber's Beauty and a Beat, a moment that fans specifically captioned and shared widely afterward, capturing footage of him fully engaged in the performance, his tattooed hands visible as he worked through the song with the kind of effortless vocal control that has made his voice one of the most respected and most consistently praised instruments in all of contemporary pop music. And he did not stop there. Later in the same broadcast, he delivered what one fan specifically described as the sweetest rendition of Into the Sun, a song closely associated with his own discography, singing it gently and with genuine emotional warmth directly into the camera in a moment that completely shifted the broadcast's energy from comedic chaos into something quietly, achingly beautiful. The contrast between these two musical moments and everything else happening throughout this live, the phone-as bottle opener mishap, the confused 6-7 outburst, the English language banter, is, I think, precisely what makes Jungkook's spontaneous live so beloved among fans. Within the span of a single uninterrupted broadcast, he moves seamlessly between full comedic chaos and genuinely moving vocal performance, with absolutely no transition, no warning, and no apparent effort, simply because that is authentically how his mind and his creative impulses move when he is given an open, unscripted microphone and a camera. And then, as if this live had not already covered enough ground, the broadcast took one more delightfully absurd turn into territory involving marriage proposals and his fellow group member Suga, also known as Youngie. Apparently, while continuing to scroll through and read fan comments live, Jungkook came across someone specifically asking him to say the words "marry me." His response was immediate and firm: "Don't say marry me. I don't have any intention of getting married." But then, rather than simply shutting the topic down entirely, he offered a genuinely funny alternative, suggesting instead that the commenter should say "Youngie, marry me," redirecting the entire marriage proposal conversation toward his bandmate with the kind of casual, easy humor that has always characterized the playful dynamic between BTS members, even when they are not physically together for a given broadcast. That specific redirect, deflecting a marriage question about himself by immediately nominating Suga instead, captures exactly the kind of quick, affectionate, slightly mischievous humor that fans have come to associate with Jungkook's interactions during these unscripted moments, where his first instinct under a slightly uncomfortable or overly intense question is almost always to find the funniest possible way to diffuse it while still keeping the conversation warm and engaged. There was also a separate, earlier moment from this same general window of live streaming activity worth mentioning, because it adds yet another layer to the overall picture of just how much genuine, unguarded personality came through across these broadcasts. In comments related to a slightly earlier clip, Jungkook specifically discussed Quartus member Keanu, comparing him to the legendary Japanese singer-songwriter Yutaka Ozaki, telling viewers that the two of them share a very similar vibe and overall energy. And then, in a moment of pure, unfiltered, completely sincere generosity, Jungkook added that he believes Keanu is actually far more handsome than Yutaka Ozaki himself, a comparison that immediately delighted fans of both Jungkook and the younger Quartus group, and which speaks to something genuinely characteristic of how Jungkook engages with the broader landscape of Korean music and the artists working within it, freely and openly sharing his actual opinions and his actual admiration for other performers, including significantly younger artists from groups outside his own immediate circle, without any of the careful, guarded hedging that so many public figures default to when discussing their peers or juniors within the same industry. Let us step back for a moment and look at the full scope of everything we have just walked through, because I think when you line up all of these individual moments side by side, the overall picture is genuinely remarkable in terms of sheer range and unpredictability. In the span of a single, completely unplanned Weverse broadcast, Jungkook accidentally tried to open a bottle using his smartphone and then sincerely apologized to the phone itself. He read a fan's comment about working on a Sunday and expressed genuine, heartfelt concern before learning the touching reason behind it. He got playfully roasted about his English skills, deflected with comedic confidence, and then sincerely revealed his actual plans to study the language from scratch with a real teacher. He randomly yelled out a viral internet meme phrase with full commitment while openly admitting he has no idea where it actually came from. He delivered a genuinely impressive cover of a Justin Bieber song. He sang a tender, beautiful rendition of one of his own tracks. He deflected a marriage proposal request by redirecting it toward his bandmate Suga with effortless humor. And in a related moment, he openly praised a younger artist from an entirely different group, comparing him favorably to a legendary musician from another country entirely. That is an extraordinary amount of genuine, unscripted personality and range packed into what was, by every indication, a completely spontaneous, unplanned live broadcast. I think this is exactly the kind of content that explains why these Weverse lives generate the specific kind of devoted, repeat viewing engagement that they do among ARMY. There is something genuinely irreplaceable about watching a major global artist exist, in real time, without a script, without a publicist carefully managing every word, without a production team shaping the narrative, just Jungkook, a phone or tablet camera, a hotel room, and whatever happens to be on his mind in that particular moment. The phone bottle mishap could never have been planned or scripted, it happened because he was simply existing naturally in front of the camera and made an entirely human, entirely relatable mistake that anyone watching could easily picture themselves making in a similarly distracted moment. The conversation about Sunday work could never have unfolded with that same emotional authenticity if it had been a planned topic for discussion. It had real weight specifically because it emerged organically from him actually reading real comments from real fans and reacting honestly, in the moment, to what he discovered there. And the musical performances felt genuinely special precisely because they were not staged or rehearsed studio moments, but rather an artist picking up whatever was available to him and singing simply because the impulse to sing arrived in that particular instant. For ARMY watching this live unfold today, I think the experience of seeing all of these different threads weave together within a single broadcast offers something genuinely valuable beyond simple entertainment. It offers a window into the actual, lived texture of who Jungkook is when he is not performing on a massive stadium stage in front of tens of thousands of people, not posing for a carefully art-directed fashion campaign, not delivering rehearsed remarks at a press conference. It offers a glimpse of someone who gets genuinely confused by his own accidental mistakes and laughs at himself for it, who feels real concern when he learns a fan is sacrificing their rest day, who is humble enough to admit gaps in his own language skills while simultaneously sharing real ambition about closing those gaps, who participates wholeheartedly in internet culture even when he does not fully understand its origins, and who sings beautifully simply because the desire to sing struck. Him in that particular moment, with no audience expecting it and no stage cues prompting it. That is an extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily valuable kind of access for any fanbase to have to a global artist operating at his level of fame, and it is precisely why these spontaneous, chaotic, wonderfully unpredictable Weverse lives continue to be some of the most cherished pieces of content this entire era has produced. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. If today's chaotic, hilarious, surprisingly emotional live gave you as much joy as it gave ARMY watching it unfold in real time, please show some love with a thumbs up. It genuinely helps this channel grow and tells me you want more rapid recap videos like this one whenever Jungkook decides to surprise us with an unplanned broadcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that button right now, because we are going to keep covering every single one of these spontaneous lives the moment they happen. Drop a comment below, out of everything that happened today, which moment made you laugh the hardest, and which one moved you the most? I read every single comment, and I genuinely love hearing your thoughts on these stories. Take care of yourselves, ARMY. I will see you in the next one.